Oh.
Under the,
This thing here.
yeah.
Yeah, well, see, this, I know I need a show. I need to have, and I don't know how many shows, whether I need one show or 2 shows or 3 shows.
Well, now let me explain about that, Michael, because that is very important, and this is something that comes up consistently. Shows cost a hell of a lot to put together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got all the musical arrangements, the lineup of the thing, the dialogue, the rehearsals, the whole picture is a costly one. People were very surprised to find that Liza was doing virtually, with rare exception, the show she did at Radio City Music Hall, and the same numbers that she did in the Ultimate Concert with Sammy and Frank. And the reason for that is that when you have a show, a true show, now you're talking now about a combo, that's easy. But as it builds into an orchestra, having all those arrangements made, you don't do that, pardon me, once a year. You do it once every 2 or 3 or 4 years because of the cost of building it in the first place. And because you're not going to be doing, when you start building a show thing, there's a thought of travel, not being just in one locale. If you're going to be in one locale, you can work with a trio, and you give them the sheet music, and there you go. But if you're going for bigger game, bigger fish, you have to think in terms of a bigger concert, that kind of thing. It's not, concert is, you play heroes, you play the major rooms, but it is in essence the same thing as doing what she did. Have you seen that tape?
Yes.
Yeah. At any rate, so you don't think in terms of 3 shows or 4 shows, you think in terms of 2. And in essence, you really think in terms of 1 2-hour show.
Yeah.
Or hour and 90-minute show that can be divided in half. So you can take that one show and do a 2-hour show with it, or an hour and a half show with it. Or you can do 2 shows by splitting it in half. In other words, here's where you start, right? And you come down to your balance, there's an altitude, right? You bring it up a little higher than where it was in the first place. And then the next part is like a continuum of that, and comes down again, and goes back up a little higher than either of these parts. Can end up with the same tune that you started with, if you want to tie it together in one show.
Yes.
Or the ending number of the first show can be used as the beginning number of the second show. Do you understand?
Yes.
In other words, you're going to stay at that peak. Once you get from here to here, you're going to stay at that peak, bring it down, and bring it up a little higher at the end.
Yes.
So that the ending number of the first show can serve as the beginning number of the second show. So you can split your show in half, have 2 45-minute shows,
Yes.
an hour and 90 minutes, right? You have
Yes.
90 minutes, an hour and a half, in all.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
And now what are
once
these
you,
second?
Now wait. Once you put that all together, then you have the ability to do a full hour or 2 hours. An hour and a half winds up being 2 hours.
Yes.
You have a 2-hour show, or you have 2 45-minute shows.
Yes.
Got that?
Yes.
Good. When you put all of that together, and it is seamlessly wound together, that takes time and it takes money in the overall picture, because it is taking time and it is taking the abilities of other people to create the backgrounds,
Yes.
and yourself to work like mad for days on things that tie everything together in a feasible way.
Yes.
Do
Yeah.
you follow?
And the biggest-
In other words, the segues. He's very good making segues from one tune to another.
Yeah.
And that's inventive in itself. And that's something that you want to really think about. I think I've talked to you about that.
Yes.
Maybe not in depth enough, because that's very important. That there's no dead air except in a place where you want dead air.
Yes.
The segues from one tune to another are very important. The musical montage behind that segue. Now, I'm not sure he knows about that. He's the best we have in this area at this time. Don Haas won't do it anymore.
Yes.
And Fred Murgy's gone. And there just is no one up here, and damn few in LA, and the ones that can do it, oh God, the prices they charge are just astronomical. So what we have to do is really do the whole shooting match yourself, and then it's going to be a tough job not to let someone like Shota do it in his way, the backgrounds of the songs themselves.
Yeah.
As long as you can say, well, right here I want this tempo change, right here I want to segue into blah, blah, blah. He's good with segues. Do you know what I mean by segues?
Yeah, well, when you're going from one song to the other song, being able to have something that is playing in the background to you that will be able to not even sound like it's going on, and then all of a sudden you're into the next song.
Right. I think we talked about that.
Yes.
How there are, you have to figure what your dialogue is going to be
Yeah.
to get from one song to the other, and it should be short and sweet.
Yeah.
But my suggestion is that you put together what you want for those segues. Now, we talked about segues.
Yes.
About fooling people.
Oh, like let's say for people, like you said, he's playing people, and you thought I was going to say people, and
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, not only that, but I think I talked about who can I turn to? Anthony Newley. He did an hour and 20 minutes, all the tunes he had written.
Yeah.
Because he's a prolific writer, and he talks about it in a very laughing way. He says everybody else made Sammy Davis got 3 million copies off of this one, and so did such and such, and he never had a hit record.
Yeah.
And he laughs about how he wrote all this stuff, but he never got it. No, they didn't want him to record.
Yeah.
Couldn't understand why they didn't want him to record. So while he's talking about this song or that song, who introduced this song, in the background, a tinkling piano is playing one of the tunes that he's written, and everybody says, oh, he's going to do a turn to. And instead, he goes into, there's always a joker.
Yeah. Like, I used to sing that as a
But
teenager.
now, wait a minute. Okay, so you sang it. The point I'm making, Michael, is that because he had written so many songs, he used those as indicators of where he was going, but he wasn't going there at all. He let them think, oh, she's going to, who can I turn to? Or, what kind of fool am I? He did something else. He's a candy man. He did any number of things. Do you see? That? But everyone thought he's going to do that. And instead he goes into something else with a perfect segue both verbally and musically into it. Do you see?
Yes.
During the time, you finish one number, and you're taking your bows. At that point is when either your guitarist or your keyboardist is making little key changes to get you to the key you're going to go into for the next song. Do you understand?
Yes.
So while you're talking that, you've taken your bows, and he's got these chord changes going on. While you're taking your bows, that's going on, and when you start talking, he's in the same key you're going to be in for the next key, for the next song.
Yes.
So you have to know what your dialogue is, how much time you need, what song you want played under you, and how many bars of that song it takes for you to say what you want to say.
Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
That's all written out. In other words, one song ends, and you're taking your bow, and then there's this little interlude that does, while you're getting ready for what you're going to do next. And at that point, you start your talking.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yeah.
And you talk. But you're going to be flat, so here's your cue. And you sing, what kind of fool I am?
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So there's no stop between the end of your dialogue into the first line of the song. And that made me wonder, what kind of fool am I?
Yes. Yeah. I really like
Do you
that song,
understand?
too, yeah.
Well, never mind that. We've got a lot of songs to choose from. What I'm trying to point out to you is your dialogue from your dialogue going into the song should be a part of the first line you're going to sing.
Yes.
And that's what made me wonder, what kind of fool am I? Do you see?
Yes.
You had this love affair, or whatever you're talking
Yeah.
about. That last sentence is a direct segue into
The first
line.
note of the song.
And that's why you have to have the exact number of measures you need. Your dialogue is written under that segue music. Got that?
Yes.
Because he's going to be playing rubato. He is not going to be playing in tempo.
Yes.
And so, as you're speaking, one night you may slow down a little bit here, speed up a little bit there. He knows exactly where you are. So when you get to that last word before the cue line,
Yes.
he's with you and you sail through. Do you
Yes.
understand?
Yes, I do. I
It
understand.
is seamless. Then it doesn't seem like you're talking all night or you're boring the audience because this music is behind you, though they don't even, we're unaware of it. It's like going to a movie.
Yeah.
You're not aware of the music, but if it isn't there, you are. And sometimes where there's a very dramatic scene, at least you've been playing all along some music, and this scene is pushed up because there isn't anything. Suddenly the scene becomes
Yes.
very exciting. It's a high point.
Yes.
It's a frenzy.
That's right.
Because there's nothing there's nothing underneath it as there was all prior. Now, do you understand?
I totally
That
understand.
is what takes the work.
Yes.
Songs, there's a million songs,
Yeah.
a billion of them.
Yeah.
You've got 9 million writers who wrote from the year 1912 to today
Yeah.
to choose from.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of songs. Don't concern yourself with that. Concern yourself with number one topic. What am I going to what is going to be the general? Does all of this regard love? Does it regard life? What am I going to be taught? True. What is it? What is it?
You know, we have openers. Internationally, we have
Yes.
openers. We have closing songs.
Yeah.
Things to close with, and medleys, things like that.
Yeah, but that comes after you've made your decision about what am I going to open with.
Mhm.
Your opener is the first thing you have to think of. What do I open with?
You put it together with me, and we work on it. You put it together, or do I say, okay, take it to Shoda and then put it together?
No, I think
and then
we
have
put
a
it
work tape.
together.
We put it together.
Yeah.
And put it together.
See, if we do that, then you can take it to Shoda and tell him to arrange it.
Yes.
For him to do the arrangement.
Yeah.
But if
Because I think it'd be better. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a hell of an opener. If you're going to talk about love, and you
Yes.
can.
Yes.
And there's so many things you can talk about. You can get the subject away from yourself. So frequently people build an act and they incorporate their anxieties, their life into it. The audience doesn't give a rat's ass about your life.
I like when you say rat's ass. Because you said that about some other thing you talked about. People don't give a rat's ass about that.
Well, they don't.
Yeah.
And so, generally speaking, you want to put together things that apply to everyone, not just to you. Let me give you one example. Not Judy Stein. Oh God. There's a guy in the walk. What is his name? Never wrote a bad song. Never wrote a bad song. Never wrote a song about himself. He wrote songs. Sammy Kahn. Everything he ever wrote could apply to everyone. To everyone.
Yes.
Not just children or adults, but all the way up. Everything he ever wrote. Like Put on a Happy Face. All of those songs that he wrote were positive. None were breastfeeders. Many love songs that were delicious. Just delicious. The point being that they were on subjects always that everyone has felt. Even the subject of loss, even children have experienced loss. If they've lost a toy,
Yes.
or a pet dog, their pet, or some special toy that they have, a doll, or whatever. Everything that he ever wrote applied to everybody. So it was a general thing. It wasn't an I thing. And I noticed that now Tony is doing more of that,
Yes.
Bennett.
Mhm.
It's a generalization.
Mhm.
You know, it's songs that everyone can play. And the songs that what did he use?
Except when the ballad is really good. When that ballad comes, I think that probably has,
But he doesn't do it from the standpoint of him as much as
yeah,
a generalization.
yes,
He
okay.
doesn't go over that barrier of dragging someone into his personal life
Yeah.
that many women do.
Racking
Drives
it in
you
the mud.
crazy. You
Oh,
know.
I have a book on torch songs, and you ought to see that book. Oh, I mean, it's a heavy-duty book. It's got great songs in it,
Yeah.
but a lot of them are personal, you know.
Much too personal.
But it's a good book, you know. I got a good collection, I think. How to Handle Women medleys. Subject is love. I've already decided it's going to be love. It's going to be love because, really, believe it, people like to hear me sing about that. What do you consider a normal income for a person in this business that is talented, that has what it takes, really, that is, you know, what do you consider a normal income for a person
I
in
have
this?
no idea.
Yeah, because that,
I have no idea. I do know that everyone that ever went into this business had a sideline.
is, let me ask you this, what record company do you think is best for hiring or getting recording contracts for this kind of music?
Well, honey, any one of them is if you're hot enough.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you'd say, well, she should be recording on Columbia because
Yeah.
they record classical
Yeah.
music. Any one of them is going to grab her because what she's really playing is jazz.
Yeah,
Bach is jazz.
yeah.
You realize
I
that?
remember that, yeah, you did the
Right.
invention in it.
Yes. Well, so any one of them, if an act is hot enough, they're all going to bid.
Yeah.
They're all going to bid. But it's got to be hot as a pistol.
And you heard,
Honey, today everything is visual, isn't it?
yes, yeah.
Did you watch the? You saw the ultimate concert, I'm sure.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Did you notice even Sinatra is moving?
Yes.
Did you know that he appeared in a motion picture? You might get it with Gene Kelly and made Kelly look like he was a
Yes, yeah,
plug.
yeah,
You have to have it all because everything today is going back to being visual.
yeah.
And this is why Michael Jackson is so great.
Mm,
He can dance. He's a hell of a dancer
Yeah.
and a damn good singer.
yes.
Plus the fact, like Madonna, she has the best dancers in the business behind her
Mm.
because it takes the best dancer in the business to make it look like they're klutses. They
Yes.
have to look worse than her.
Yes.
And that's a real job. 'Cause
Yeah.
and they're the
Yeah.
only ones who can do it.
Yes.
Michael Jackson's videos are great because the dancers can dance up to par
Mhm.
with him. And he's
Yes.
a fine dancer.
Yes.
So he moves,
Mm.
never mind the crotch grabbing and all that. That's beside the point. But he dances. And it's a part of today because it's a part of the visual, I think.
Mhm.
Now, how far can you go with this kind of material? Well, Celine
Yes.
Dion is doing just
Yes.
fabulously.
Yeah. And I think there's a market all over the world for this.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but more and more here.
Do you know what they remembered? I was in Norway 6 years ago, and I sang at a wedding. You know what they remembered? You know what I sang?
What?
Blue Moon. Because the musicians all knew it. They all knew over there, the Norwegian musicians, oh, Blue Moon, yes. The stuff that would go in the
Yeah.
show. Love is where you find it. Love is a simple thing.
Now, you don't want every song you do to be love, love,
Yeah.
love, love, love.
Yeah.
It can pertain to love.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
You do want to incorporate some up things.
Yeah. Probably mostly up things.
I would say
Yeah.
so. No, it can be an even sprinkling. You don't want to get too heavy into, breast beaters on a CD. You do those if you're appearing. You can stick a
Yeah.
couple of those in. Will be
Breast
on
beaters,
CD.
you mean like the torch songs?
Oh, the torch songs. Yeah.
Since I fell for you, that's a real, yeah.
Barbara did a hell of a job since I
Yeah,
fell for you.
I remember it.
But great. It's a great tune.
Yeah.
It's a great tune, but it's a tearjerker. But I didn't get a tearjerker from her. I just enjoyed her voice.
Yeah.
I really didn't feel much about what was going on. Emotionally, it didn't. One that is maybe it would work though. I've got the world on a string.
I used to sing that.
On a rainbow, got the string.
That was Bobby McFerrin's song he started out with. I remember when I first met him, he went around to the clubs and said, hey, I got a song I'd like to do here, just stand up and do it. And he did that song.
Yeah.
And at first I wasn't into his little thing that he was doing, the
Yeah.
acapella, but then after a while I
He's
got,
brilliant.
yeah.
I didn't realize how brilliant he is. He's lecturing kids
Mhm.
on music, and boy, does he pull them in.
And he has voiceestra. That's what he has, the voiceestra, which is
Yeah, but he doesn't do, that isn't what he's dealing with kids. He's talking, explaining music to them.
yeah.
And he's fabulous.
Yeah.
I have a great respect for him. I don't like what he does particularly, because he doesn't do it as well as some other people that I know
Yeah.
have done it. But he has such a joy about him.
Yeah.
There's such a joyfulness about Bobby McFerrin. He's just, wow.
Yeah.
That's just what he spreads.
Yeah.
Just
That's right.
love and joy and happiness, and everything's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Don't worry, be happy. Yeah.
That's a
We're
very
done, son.
good idea.
We're done.